Hello, everybody. We are live. It's Skip Clark, your podcast host for Skip Happens. And as always, along with my good friend Deb Lamphere, she is the founder and the president of the official country music club here in the Northeast. And we're throwing it all the way on the other side of the country right now. He's in Oregon. I've got to say Oregon. It's not Oregon. It's Oregon.
That's it.
And I love it. And I'll tell you, this guy, he's his name is Scott Southworth, and he has got quite a bio here. When I read about what he has done, a top 30 charting recording artist in Europe. That's cool. Let's see here. You've got couple of great CDs. You got a whole bunch of CDs. I shouldn't just say a couple, man. Look at this. 70. You got 70 independent. There it goes. 70 independent cuts, and was recently named a Country Music People magazine's Indie Songwriter of the Year, and that was as recent as 2018. I mean, I'm trying to read all this, but there's so much to read. So Scott Southworth, everybody, there he is.
Congratulations on those accomplishments, and welcome.
Thank you. I'm just sharing this on my Facebook too right now. So there, I think I did it. So thanks very much, you guys. Thanks for having me. We're up in Syracuse, New York. What a treat! I love it over there.
Yeah, you've been here. Have you been to the Northeast before?
I've been into the Northeast. I've not been to Syracuse. I've been through some of New York and Jersey and Pennsylvania, but I'd love to hit Syracuse. So we'll have to make some arrangements.
We can do that. We can do that. But this is all part of Backstage Nashville.
Yeah,
which is a hit songwriter show that is one of Nashville's top attractions. They put on shows twice a week, and they feature the top songwriters in the area and the up-and-coming artists in the area, and it is a show not to be missed if you are in the Nashville area. They hold their shows over at 3rd and Lindsley in Nashville. I've been to the shows. It's an excellent, intimate VIP experience. They really let you get up close and personal with their songwriters, which is how all of this came about, because I loved it so much. I ran to find an owner because I just had to work with you guys. I was like, this is awesome. And it's just all come around, and we've had this excellent opportunity of meeting some phenomenal artists and songwriters. So we really do welcome you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. And yeah, Backstage Nashville, there's really nothing like it. For starters, because it's in the afternoon. So when you're here and you're doing your tourism stuff, you can actually hear some great live music with they usually categorize me as one of their discoveries, but there's always 2 or 3 massive hit songwriters there as well. And it's just so much fun to hear the music in that raw state from the people that created it. And it's a very intimate location, very cool, with all of Ray Stevenson's super cool paintings and everything. So it's a great way to spend a couple hours when you're in Nashville. And it's a little different from your typical honky tonkin' and all of the typical tourist stuff. This is just a real nice sit back and get a feel for the real world of songwriting.
Very cool. Tell us a little bit about where you are right now and your surroundings.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually in Oregon. I flew in last night, and I grew up here. I have a CD coming out next week, and so pre-COVID, I set up some theater shows and bar gigs. I wanted to come home and have some CD release parties.
Cool.
All the theater and bar gigs went away, obviously, with the quarantine. But I did have several wonderful people said, you know what, we'll do an outdoor house concert, and we can fit 200 people, but we'll only allow 50. So we'll have good social distancing and come play some music. So we decided to come and make a vacation out of it, because all of my other touring plans have kind of gone down the tubes this year. So some time to kill. So here I am, visiting friends and family and just having some fun.
It's cool. So whose house are you at right now? Your family's?
No, I'm at a very good friend of mine, actually a couple that I introduced and set them up about 28, 29 years ago.
Very nice.
And so there's one of them's driving in right now. So yeah, we're just hanging out.
Wave. There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool because when we first went on, Deb, before you jumped in front of the camera, he had the camera turned in a different direction and he was backlit. So I really couldn't see him all that well, but the view was spectacular.
Should I show it? Want me to turn the computer around?
Yeah, just
I think you should, because I've never been there and I don't know if I'll ever get there.
Wait to check out this view. I mean,
nice.
That's Oregon. That's Oregon, not Oregon. It's Oregon.
Oregon. We're in Portland, Oregon, and it's gorgeous here.
Yeah, and right now it's pouring here. I can tell you the Northeast we're getting the. But we've had a long stretch of we've had. I can tell you this: we've had 30 days of 80+ temperatures.
Wow,
in a row, which is very unusual for us. The last time we've had at least that many was 1949. I think that the record's 45 days. It's going back up into the middle 90s this week, and another heat wave is coming our way. We've had, I want to say, 14, 15 of at least 90+ degree days, which is very unusual for us here.
Mm-hmm. I'll never complain.
We left Tennessee, and it was 97 degrees with 90% humidity. And came here, and it's about 80 degrees with 0 humidity. So,
very nice.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about you, Scott. And obviously, you're a songwriter, and you're very well known not only here but in Europe. But take us back to the beginnings of Scott Southworth.
I was born at a very young age. Never forget the day. Now, let's see here. I grew up here in Oregon. We moved to Tennessee 16 years ago from Southern California. And I've been in Nashville slogging away as a songwriter for years. I told you, Skip, I actually ended up doing a show on WSM.
Love that.
The Air Castle of the South for 10 years, called the Music Row Show, where oddly enough, we interviewed hit songwriters, recording artists, and never Martina McBride.
No, hey, well, we had her last night, so I got one up on you there.
You got me there. We had Dolly Parton, we had Little Richard, Vince Gill. We just interviewed all sorts of folks, but
Pam Tillis.
No.
We got 2 up on you then.
We got 2 up on you. Yeah. We had Gummit.
You guys are so competitive.
It's a radio thing. It's a radio
thing. I know.
Who got the best get? No, but so that was just a real great learning experience, because what we did is we talked about the craft and the business of making music, and so we did that for years. And I don't know if you're familiar with Billy Yates.
Yes.
Billy Yates wrote "I Don't Need Your Rocking Chair" for George Jones, and he's had a great solo career of his own. But he really started when he was on our show. We visited about how Europe really loves traditional country music, and I didn't really give it another thought. But then when I released a traditional project back in 2016. The day after it went live, I started getting emails from all over Europe, from different DJs, and it's been incredible. I mean, I never had any intention to be a recording artist, but since what I love to write is more of a traditional type of country, clearly that's not the direction right now of American popular country radio. Which is no big deal. Of course, it's always going to go younger, and that's the way of the world. But to find out that there's huge pockets all over Europe of people that want to hear original country music, and that with that traditional style, it's been amazing. So it's like a whole other, like a part 7 for me. A whole new direction.
You know, look what happened when Garth went over there. I mean, it was just crazy. And I've got some other friends that have actually, the country artists, and they've performed over in Europe. And they say the crowd is phenomenal. The passion, the dedication for the country music, and the artists, they absolutely love the country artists. It's just, you wouldn't think that right off the top, you know, but once you go there and you experience it, it's like, wow, this is, it does exist. It's cool.
And not only that, but so I was playing a festival in Norway, and I'm playing, and right up front there's a bunch of 20-somethings singing my songs to me.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
There's no better feeling too, right?
Yeah, but you know, around here you wouldn't imagine. You know, it's the demographic for what I do is it definitely skews older.
Sure.
But over there, it's all ages are loving traditional country music. So God bless them, and I'm happy to go there. I've ended up touring over there several times, and just it's what an amazing experience for, you know, just to be able to go and travel to Switzerland and France and Spain and Germany and just meet people and hang with folks. That's my favorite part of this.
You know, Scott, I have to say this. I think when you talk about traditional country and the demographics and all that, I can see what you're doing and listening to what people are saying and what people are listening to. I think it's starting to turn back to that traditional sound. I think it's starting to come back to the steel guitar. I mean, yeah, I know there's a lot of country now with brass in it as well. You know, there's a big hoop-de-doo and all that went down how many years ago, but I think it's all starting to come back. And what you're doing, we were listening to your music before we went on tonight, that traditional sound, that honky tonk sound, that traditional sound, it's all coming back. That's my opinion. I think in the younger audience, the younger demographics are getting into that.
Well, I hope so. But what I think what we'll need is, you know, back in the late 80s when a young 6'3" blonde Adonis named Alan Jackson started playing, you know, we need to get those young, really good looking fellas and women that want to play that kind of music. And they're out there. I got several friends, younger folks that love this style of music. And hopefully they'll get those ears. They'll get some ears, and things will work out for them.
I would love for it to be incorporated into today's pop sort of country music, because, well, we grew up on that traditional music, so we love it. I mean, I love the music today, but we really miss hearing that style of music.
Yeah,
coming on the radio every day.
But I don't begrudge the radio, and something that I've thought of for the last couple of years is thank God that the music really skews in that direction, because if Luke Bryan or Florida Georgia Line were out singing traditional country music,
it might not go over very well.
No, it might go over great, but then nobody would want to see my 50-year-old. You
don't want to get out there with Luke Bryan and shake it up there.
No, let him keep doing what he's doing, because that means there's an audience for what I'm doing for me. So God bless him. Keep on shaking that birdie, Luke.
You know, Deb, Scott's got a point there. I'm just saying, Scott has a point there. So that's cool. Your songwriting. How did you, I mean, tell us about your process. Yeah, obviously you're one of the top songwriters, and just tell us about your process of songwriting.
It changes from song to song. I've been writing since I was about 19. And what's interesting is I was in rock bands and I was in blues bands and top 40 bands, but everything I wrote was this other genre that I didn't even know what it was. And it wasn't till 20 years later I realized I'd been writing country songs for years. But it just depends. Sometimes I get an idea of a line and then the song will build around that. Sometimes a riff happens, and, you know, like Skip happens. Sometimes riffs happen.
There you go.
True.
So
it really changes. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna kind of joke. We're not talking about your current album yet, but that totally just made me think because I love the song. Is it My Old Bones? Is that what the title? These Old Bones. These Old Bones. I totally related to that song when I was listening to it. So I was thinking maybe you woke up one morning and all of your bones were cracking all over the place, and that's it. I need to write a song about this.
That's close. But it wasn't one morning. It was every morning after I hit a certain age. And I'd wake up and I'd say, "Oh, these old bones." But two years before, me and my buddy Rick Stewart had been talking on the phone, and we were both talking about being our age. And he said, "You know, I've done a lot of things in my life, but I've never been this old before." And so I said, "We're going to write that someday." And 2 years later, when I was popping my back and I said, "These Old Bones," I said, "Wait, those two things work really well together." So I called him up, and he lives up on the mountain, and we went on up there and wrote the song.
Very cool. Very cool. Has any other artist taken your song and done, moved on with it?
Yeah, I've had a lot of independent cuts. The only major label cut I've had was a bluegrass artist who did an amazing job with the song I wrote with Jerry Salley called "Liar's Moon."
Okay.
And but no, I mean, it's funny because I'd actually several years ago I wrote a rap song. I wrote a verse and a chorus of a rap song to make fun of what I was starting to hear on the radio.
Uh-huh.
And my daughter walked by and said, "Dad, that's really good." And I said, "No, it isn't. This is the worst thing. I'm writing crap. I'm just joking. This is to make fun of things." And she goes, "Well, you should finish that." So I did. And horror of horrors, that became my first major label pitch. And it went to several big artists.
Uh-huh.
And Skip and Deb, I got on my knees and I said, please God, not this one."
Of course. You're saying
I don't want to have to sing this for the rest of my life.
It's that, having that, I guess you would call it the I don't care attitude about that song. You were just messing around. It is what it is. But sometimes, though, are those the ones that, like, oh my God, they're loving it. What am I going to do now? This is huge. I was only messing around. And look what happened. I mean, and then you do end up singing it for the rest of your life.
Yeah, well, look at the, if you want to go into the world of hair bands, the lead singer of Warrant wrote Cherry Pie as a joke.
Yeah.
And hated that song and hated the fact that it became a hit. So once things started popping overseas, I kind of decided to, instead of worrying about trying to write for radio, because I'm not super interested in that. Again, nothing against it, God bless them, but it's not my thing. I'd rather go out and have fun and live some cool adventures playing music that I actually like to write and I like to play. And so that's been my direction for the last 4 years. And it's funny, when I stopped worrying about making money and I stopped worrying about having any type of success, I'm having so much fun. And I've, as far as writing goes, I've made more with my music in the last 4 years than I had in the last 15 years.
Exactly. And I think it's when you don't worry about it so much and you kind of take your mind off of it that it all really starts working for you. I mean,
it certainly did for me. It did for me. So I appreciate that.
That's really awesome. That's really awesome. How about you going to play us something here tonight? You're going to get out the guitar and I don't know. You tell me.
Pick one. We need the story behind the song.
Yeah.
Since Deb already referenced These Old Bones, I just do that one real quick.
Okay.
And I already told you the story.
You did.
You did.
Great story.
It is the title track of the new CD, which comes out this coming Monday on
July 20th.
These old bones sure like complaining when they drag me out of bed. I don't mind the ache and pain. Good to know that I ain't dead. These old bones don't get nowhere fast. They got me this far. These old bones got enough to know. Picking on guitars. I don't know much, but one thing I know for sure. These old bones ain't never been this old before. It's harder to recuperate. They don't bounce back like they did. But when the whiskey lubricates, well, they feel just like the kids. These old bones don't dance, but truth to tell, they never really could. These old bones got enough to know they still got a good. I don't know much, but one thing I know for sure. These old bones ain't never been this old before. You might call me a fossil, really past my prime, but my baby likes to wait. These old bones take their time. They're what God gave me to work with. So until he calls me home, 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 I got these old bones. Well, I ain't planning on these old bones getting planted no time soon. They still got a lot of miles to go, plenty left to do. As long as guitars pick it hot and honky tonk serve beer on ice, will you keep that chair to rock? These old bones hit their stride. I don't know much, but one thing I know for sure. These old bones ain't never felt this good before. You might call me a fossil, really past my prime, but my baby likes to wait. These old bones hit their stride. I don't know much, but one thing I know for sure. These old bones ain't never felt this good before. These old bones ain't never felt this good before.
Wow.
Love it.
Love it. These old bones never felt this good before. I love that.
That's right. That's right.
I totally got that Nashville feeling as I was listening to that song. I just felt like I was sitting at Backstage Nashville or Bluebird. I know you performed there, and it just put you right in that environment.
Actually, Backstage Nashville was the very first place I ever tried this song out, and the audience went nuts. There was a lot of old bones in that audience, and they had a good time with it.
A lot of young bones too.
Yeah.
You make her work. That's the type of song I think if I'm cruising. We vacation in the Outer Banks every year, so it's like a 12, 13, 14-hour drive depending on how we do it. But that's one of the songs that I would put on and just crank and just, I'd be singing along with it in no time. And I've only heard it a few times, and already I know I kind of I'm singing it to myself, and old bones. So.
Will that be the first release off that album?
No, the first release, the first single came out a few weeks ago, and it was Brown Liquor.
Okay.
And I had COVID-19, right? I had a whole plan. I had a video that I was going to film. I had it scripted out, storyboarded out, costumes for everybody. And we were set to film it on the 15th of March. Ooh. And all of a sudden quarantine happened, and everybody said, because we were all going to be crammed in a little cabin.
Right.
So that one has been shelved for a while till I can film it, because I really wanted to look a certain way. But I'm also releasing, I did do a video in the last few weeks for a song called Critters on the CD. Okay. And what I did in the spirit of social distancing is I reached out to friends that have come to my shows all over Europe and in the United States, and asked them to send me videos of them dancing to this song. So the result is coming out on Monday, and I'm so proud of it. And we got dancers from Switzerland, from France, from Ireland, from the United Kingdom, from Utah and California and Oregon, and it's a lot of fun to watch, and I hope people enjoy it.
Wow.
See, we were talking about that, this COVID, it brings out, it forces us to branch out of our normal zones, and you probably would not have thought about doing something like that if you had other avenues to work with.
Yeah, if you've watched any of my music videos, it's always just me calling up a bunch of my friends and saying, "Come over," or "Meet me at this place," and we just goof around and make a video out of it. So this I had to call my friends in a different way, but it's been a wonderful experience.
Do you do all of this yourself? Do you put this all together, the editing and everything?
Oh no, I think as Skip proved as I was trying to figure out my microphone here, that is not my skill set. No, I have very, very talented friends, and they support my habit here, and so we have a lot of fun together.
Oh, good. Yeah, we all have our strengths and weaknesses. Tech is definitely not my strength.
Will Rogers, wasn't it him that said everybody's ignorant at something?
In something. That is correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Absolutely. Well, we all do different things, and as long as we're all friends, we can call on each other, and we can all put it together and make it work. That's all. And that's it.
That's it.
Cool. So the whole quarantine thing, otherwise, I mean, like Deb said, stepping out of your comfort zone a little bit, or stepping out of what you normally do, which you've done, but how has that affected your songwriting? Have you done like Zoom writes, or do you somehow use the technology and kind of write with other people, or did you do that? Let me ask.
I've done it. I've done some Zoom writes and FaceTime writes in the past, and I'm not adverse to doing that, but really this thing all happened right when I was putting all the pieces together for finishing up the CD. And so the last several months have been more, when you're an indie artist, you're your own team in a lot of ways. So I've spent more of my time putting the rest of the artwork, getting the artwork done, and getting the songs mastered, right, and getting the CD made, and then figuring out what platforms and how bad so my mind's, sometimes you got to use the other side of your brain. So the actual writing, I've written a couple songs in the last few months, but for the most part, it's been, I had a date. I wanted this to come out on the 20th, and I just had to make sure everything fell into place. So, but I've had some folks call me up and ask me to write, and I've done it, but no, right now is more driving this than working on new stuff.
You've got your goals set, and you got the date set, and you know what you want to do, and you got to work hard at getting it out, because you want to stick with your plan.
Well, and especially when things are shut down, and so it's interesting. Actually, Stephen McCartney popped in.
Yeah, he did. That's why I just sent that over there, so you would see that. So
I'm glad you did. He's an incredible artist in Belfast, Ireland.
Oh, really?
Oh my gosh, one of the most talented writers and performers. We've done some shows together in Ireland, and he's just a sweet guy and just a huge talent.
Awesome. We'd love to talk to him sometime. I mean, it's good connections, and we network, and anytime they want to come on, Skip happens. Deb and I would love to have them. So
there you go, Stephen. Reach out to Skip and Deb.
There you go.
Done it already. I think I see it coming in through my messenger.
We might have to go to Ireland though at some point. I don't know. I mean, Scott's gonna perform out there. He's got friends out there. We might have to go to a show there.
So done some great shows, so that's cool.
Indeed. Oh, and then you got Mickey Bunn. He's a great DJ here in Tennessee, and does a show on Saturdays in Centerville.
Oh, very cool. Okay.
Which is where Minnie Pearl's from. And the show's called Grinder Switch Radio Hour, and it's a live performance show. It's great stuff.
Love it. I'll have to check some of that out. That's pretty cool. You know, being a radio guy, just like you being a writer, but radio guys like to check out other radio guys and see, you know, what are they doing, where are they working, and what kind of show do they have. So that's very cool. That's very cool. So
very cool.
People walk into someone's studio and immediately go to their equipment. Go, let me see your equipment. What do you have there? I've got that kind of mic. Oh, I've heard of that. Yeah, they go into their own little.
Exactly. Right now, I'm in my own little. This is what I call the pod zone. This is actually in my house where I have you know, like last night, for example, when we had Martina on, Deb actually came over here and we did it all from right here from the pod zone. But it's, you know, this is my dream room. At my age, I'm in my 60s. So this is, you know, I went out and got the best microphones and I've got all the toys and I don't have to worry about anything. Life is good. And that's why I love doing this too. So.
These are the only toys I buy.
And what kind of guitar is that?
This is I've been a Larrivee artist for several years and I got a bunch of these great guitars and I just love them to death. But, you know, I have a lot of friends that are gadget guys and are always buying this sound equipment and this microphone. And
yeah,
I still write on paper and in a notebook with the pen.
I love traditional people like that. I still do that.
Another pencil and a pad of paper and you're good to go.
That's it.
My notes for tonight, pen and paper, pen and paper.
My notes for tonight, it's an iPad.
I know, because you're a
gotta love it. And Scott, would you do another song for us?
Sure. I'm
Okay.
I'm here with my friends, so I'm gonna do this. The first single, which came out, I guess, about a month or so ago, and this song, I wrote it probably almost 10 years ago, and I wrote a verse and a chorus. And then I sent it to two buddies of mine that we constantly did songwriter shows together. And I said, hey, let's have some fun. Write a verse to this song. And we don't share them with each other. But next time we go play, we perform the song and we each sing our verses. And the audience loved it. And we cracked each other up because we were kind of jabbing at each other with the verses and having some fun with it. And so over the years, this song probably has 75, 80 verses to it because we're constantly making up new verses. And one time I was at a songwriters festival and my daughter jumped on stage. She'd written a verse. And we've had audience members write a verse in the middle of the song. And so it's just this fun thing. And it actually, every time I played in Kentucky, I'd say, this is my application to be a Kentucky Colonel. And one night in Bowling Green, Kentucky, somebody came up to me and said, are you serious? And I said, I want to be a Kentucky Colonel so badly. Yes, I'm being very serious. And they were a colonel, and they nominated me. And I'm a Kentucky Colonel because of this silly little song.
Wow, that's awesome. That's a great story.
When I came up with the idea, I thought, I'd like to write something that made me a Kentucky Colonel. And so when it finally happened, my wife said, gee, it's too bad you've never thought to write something that made money.
How do they always end up like going down that road?
Well, I like drinking brown liquor, moonshine gets me drunk quicker, red wine. I only make me sicker, pour a little more of that Kentucky brown liquor. You can probably tell I like Roger Miller a lot. When you do this song. I take my lead in a glass, just all by itself. I drink to love and heartache. I drink to your health, then I wax philosophical. Just like Aristotle, when God closes up a door, I open up a bottle. Line, drinking brown liquor, moonshine gets me drunk quicker, red wine. I only make the sicker, pour a little more of that Kentucky brown liquor. Well, some people calls it bourbon. Lisa Carver calls it ski. Yeah, I don't care what you call it. If you're pouring it for me, I'll drink it by the cupful. Drinking by the gallon, I'll be drinking till I'm thinking I'm a love-making stallion. Drinking brown liquor, moonshine gets me drunk quicker. Red wine, I only make the sicker, pour a little more of that Kentucky brown liquor. Yeah. Well, now beer just gets me fatter. Vodka makes me mean. Tequila gets me naked, and skip that one no one needs to see. Give me just a trickle. Got nothing not to come between me and my pickle. Drinking brown liquor, moonshine gets me drunk quicker. Red wine, I only make me sicker. Pour a little more of that Kentucky brown liquor. Well, I like drinking brown liquor. It's so fine. It's fine as Kelly Pickler. Now, Deb, that's a new rhyme, so don't be such a stickler. Pour a little more of that Kentucky brown liquor. Say yeah. Yeah, said yeah, yeah. I said yeah, yeah, yeah. But I believe it, dirty dop a beat and beat here on the Skip Happen Show.
Oh my God, I love it.
That is awesome. You know, I don't think I've smiled this much in so long. It hurts that
I know. My cheeks hurt too, actually.
To have you on during this whole COVID crap that we're going through and everything that's on our minds, and you know that we have those moments. We have you on the podcast, and I can't stop smiling. Seriously, your music is phenomenal, and I never even realized that, and now I'm all over this. I'm going to be all over this, and when we travel, it's going to be in the truck. I'm telling you, this Scott, and I'll be spreading the word big time. That you know, this is feel good stuff. This is what we need in America right now, all around the world. This is what
It's interesting that you say this because I've had this conversation with certain friends that are very, very political in one direction or the other, and they say that I need to be spreading my opinions out there. And my thought is, in this day and age, I could see in the 60s where the folk singers needed to be sending messages out because there was only one or two news sources, right? Mm-hmm. We get a fire hose of information shoved down our throats all day long. We do. So my job, the way I view my job, is to hopefully take your mind off it. If it's for 3.5 minutes, if it's at a show, if you're coming out for 2 hours, or if you're at one of my Facebook Live shows, my job is to hopefully make you smile, take your mind off it. We all know what's going on. Mm-hmm. We all get plenty of news. You don't need to hear it from me. Mm-hmm. And so I choose to just hopefully give you a smile. So what you just said made me so happy. So thank you very much for that.
And it still hurts.
No, it's great because it does. It takes your mind away from everything else that's going on, whether it be work, home, the world stuff, anything. It's just very uplifting.
Well, good. I'm glad. Thank you very much for saying that.
So when you're back in Nashville, are you usually playing in the songwriter rounds, or what's your performance schedule situation out there?
I believe, good Lord willing, if we're still going, I believe I'm on August 1st at Backstage Nashville. I'm very excited to do that, and hopefully we'll be there to do that. And if not, well, we'll get there soon enough. But as far as when the Bluebird has been closed down for months and months.
Yes.
So when I'm in town, if I'm playing at Backstage Nashville. I'm playing at the Bluebird. I used to play at Douglas Corner, which just closed down, and there's a few other places. But for the most part, most of my shows are on other parts of the United States, and then of course Europe. But so I don't know what this is all looking like right now. I know that even as far as February of next year, I was supposed to be headlining a festival in New Zealand, which I was so excited about. But we moved that to 2022 just because we didn't know what it was going to look like. And so, you know, I'm not too concerned about it. I'm playing my music for anybody who'll listen. I'm thinking about creating my truck has an electrical outlet in it. So I could put my amp in my truck and do drive-by concerts. Let a cul-de-sac know I'm going to be there at 2:00 in the afternoon. Set up your chairs around your house, and I'm going to play some music for you. You know, we have to find.
Yes, that's fantastic.
It's what we're going to have to do for right now, and it has to be okay. And it's our job to make it fun, and hopefully, like I said, take people's mind off all the other stuff right now.
Yeah, you got to love that. I had a Dodge Ram that had a plug in it, and I was doing some stuff that I'd be able to run it right off my truck, which was pretty cool. So,
Yep, I did write a song, and Deb, I did write a song recently. Can I play you a little bit of it?
Oh, we'd love to hear it. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Where it began, I heard that it came from China.
Oh,
But it's everywhere we go. So here we are, stuck here inside our houses. For how long? Well, no one really knows. Hands, wash your hands, scrub it out, don't touch you, and don't touch me. Sweet COVID-19 quarantine, man, we're in good, so good, so good. I never dreamed cabin fever'd be so long and lonely. I look at my wife, and she's looking right back at me. We've run out of anything to say. It's been 4 months, man. The look in her eyes, I know what she's wishing, that I was Matthew McConaughey. All right. Anyways, and it goes on like that.
That's awesome. I love it.
How do you just do that? How do you just get like a weird idea and you just put it on paper and go, okay, what rhymes with this? And I know we gotta wash our hands, and don't touch me, I don't touch you, and all that. It's crazy.
He just did it. That's what he does.
And that's like me asking you, how do you make all those electronic doohickeys work? And how do you talk on the air for 3 or 4 hours at a time? It's we all have something. Yeah. And I'm so grateful for songwriting, and it's I didn't appreciate it for many years, but just the idea that you can create something out of nothing, or I probably started out even at an earlier age doing parody songs, and using current songs to make up little funny songs. So there's everybody has different ways, and I don't know if I can really explain how it happens. It just does.
It does.
It just does. I totally can't wait to have a group of people come see you perform, because
I know that would be awesome.
One heck of a good time.
Do you do the parodies on stage and all that? Do you every once in a while kind of go off in a different direction and just have some fun?
In Switzerland, I had a guy come up to me after the show, and I didn't realize it, but he was one of the biggest live music reviewers in Switzerland. And I didn't even know he was there, but he comes up afterwards and he goes, "What do you call what you just did?" That's a scary thing to hear from somebody. And I said, "I don't know. What do you call it? And he said, I don't know either. And what he wrote, and when he did the review, he said it was like a carnival ride, because it was up and down and I'd go in different directions. So yeah, when I'm live, if I'm live doing solo acoustic, the shows you never know what's going to happen. Now, when I'm playing with the full band, a lot of times in Europe, I'm playing with European bandmates, and I have to be less spontaneous,
right?
Because they've learned all stuff.
Yeah.
So then I have to find other ways to emote to the audience. But when it's live and acoustic, it's, I could stop a song in the middle and just start telling a story, and then go right back to wherever I was in the song, and just or start talking to someone, or eat their French fries, or you never know what's going to happen.
That's great. Very natural.
That's a songwriter. When they can stop, tell a story, then pick it up where they left off. That's a songwriter. That's somebody that your mind is always going, brother.
Oh, the mind's going, but it's going. I don't know where.
It's in Oregon right now, so that's
right.
Good. Let me ask you, getting off the music thing just for a moment, because I'm such a geek. Well, you flew from Nashville to Oregon, correct? So was the plane full?
No. Southwest keeps the middle rows empty.
We love Southwest, by the way. So
yeah. And it was probably the remaining seats, I don't know, maybe 60%, 70% full. Right. We had our masks on the entire time. So that was kind of wild, because my wife is sitting a seat from me, and you got the airplane noise, and then you got the mask on. I couldn't hear a word she said, and finally she just said, "Just stop talking to me." So we didn't speak for 7 hours yesterday, and we sat right next to each other. So that was strange. I brought a book, and that's always funny nowadays, because everybody's reading off their Kindle or their iPad, and I actually have a book. And I brought a small book. I should have brought a bigger book.
You whipped right through that book in less than 7 hours.
Right through it, somewhere over Utah.
I love it.
I didn't think about that with the airplane rides. When you're traveling with people that or your family, you can't really talk to them.
No. And there was there's really no drink service. There's no alcohol on the planes. Now they're just giving you an ice water and a bag of peanuts. And so had I known that, I would have brought some brown liquor. But,
I wonder if they would let you bring that on. I doubt they'd let you bring that on board, right? I don't know. That'd be interesting.
Well, you can bring a flask as long as it's under a certain amount.
Oh, that's right. That's right. As long as unless you can, it has to be under a certain amount. But if you buy something after you go through TSA, you'd probably be all right. So
it's not like I have a problem. I don't have to have alcohol. It was just
it helps sometimes.
I couldn't talk. My book was done, and I was like, what am I going to do here?
Now but
I just started poking my wife. I just poked her.
You said the middle seat was open, so she wasn't sitting right next to you?
We've been married for 28 years. She doesn't want to be that close to me.
All right. Upset. I'm going to walk away from this conversation. All right. Never mind. What do you do for fun, though, when you want to break away from everything? Do you hunt? Do you fish? Do you play ball? What do you do?
I love to fish. I love to hike. My daughter and I love going on hikes, and we haven't been she went off to college, so we haven't had as many opportunities like we used to, but hiking and fishing. I hang out with some fellows at a little cabin out in the middle of nowhere on Wednesday nights, and we just sit around and complain about everything and spit and drink and whatever, and it just have some fun, play music. But this is what I do for fun. I touched on it a little earlier, but when I travel and I'm touring, I hate staying in hotels when I'm in Europe. I'd rather couch surf and stay with people and hang out with them and just visit and tell stories and listen to stories. That's more important to me. And so for me, the joy is just hanging with new people and making friends, all over the world. That's what I do for fun.
I love that. Absolutely love that.
So, but if I remember correctly, I think in your bio you were saying I write songs and I love pie. So that must be your other favorite thing to do.
Well, I do like pie an awful lot. And matter of fact, where we're staying at, as I opened up the refrigerator, they have a Marionberry pie just waiting for me.
Just waiting for you.
So no, I love a good meal. I love a good whiskey and hanging out with good friends. That's what I like to do.
It's very cool. And it makes here again, it makes for a great songwriter. When you say you want to listen to stories, I know you're taking it all in as a song. It all in. And eventually maybe someday something like, it'll come something, you'll see something, then you can piece it with something that you heard maybe back when, and it just keeps, and bam, next thing you know, you get a song.
Yeah. And how about you guys? What do you guys do for fun? What do you do in Syracuse?
Well, this podcast is fun. I will tell you that.
It's about all we got right now. Thinking about it, but I get it when baseball is in. We have our games normally. We're a AAA affiliate of the New York Mets, so we get to go to the games. I work at the ballpark as one of their announcers, and I love doing that. That's my way of releasing. That's my way of just getting away from everything. We'll go to the game and get a cold beer, kick my feet up we have like seats right up front, so I kick my feet up on the dugout, and it's just nothing more relaxing to me. And I have a son with special needs. Zach is 19. He's Down syndrome. He also works at the ballpark, and he's all about baseball. And I got to tell you, we just do a lot of things with him that makes us very happy. And he's a blessing. He's our gift. And that's our life. It's baseball and Zach, and we love every minute of it. So that's
cool. Wonderful. And for my money, I prefer minor league baseball. I've been to a lot of major league parks, but I really love a minor league game. There's so much entertainment between the innings, and look at that. Yeah, man. I love it. I love it. We have the Nashville Sounds. When I was in Eugene, Oregon, we had the Eugene Emeralds, and that was always fun. And when we lived in Southern California, we'd go see the Lake Elsinore Storm. That was a ton of fun. And I love the Memphis Redbirds. I catch minor league games wherever I can.
Yeah, exactly. They are the most fun, and they have some great promotions, like $1 Thursday. Hot dogs, get a beer for $1. I mean, you can't go wrong. It's a deal. You got Taco Tuesdays and Winging It Wednesdays and $1 Thursdays and Mangia Mondays.
You can afford to take the whole family and just have a great time. And there's few things as that makes me just think I'm in America than when I'm in a minor league ballpark. And I don't know. I love it. I've actually been able to sing the national anthem a few times for the Nashville Sounds, and that's always one of my favorite things.
Excellent. I know we've had players come from Nashville. They all move around and stuff. So we've gotten to know the players very, very well because we're at every game, and of course working at the ballpark. So a lot of these guys go on to the majors, and the Washington Nationals were our parent club up until last year. So we got to know a lot of those players, and they ended up going to the World Series, and we actually still keep in touch, which is very, very cool. So
they still take your calls.
They still take my calls. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's
amazing. It's amazing. Not just when they want something or a place to stay. They still take my calls. No, it's all good. It's all good. And they work hard to live their dream, just like you're living your dream. It's not easy. We're living our dream. I'm a radio guy. I love being on the radio. I love doing what I do. And I know Deb. When I got to know Deb, I realized what her passion and her dedication for the country format. It's out of this world. I don't think I've ever met somebody that is more dedicated and more passionate for the music, for the country music. So.
Fantastic. Well, God bless you, Deb. We appreciate that.
Thanks. Thank you. I love it.
And
Absolutely
she's
love
a good businesswoman, and I'm so unorganized. I mean, I got shit laying all over the place. She's like, yeah, this has got to, you got to get your notes together. You got to do this. You got to do that. So I'm like, yeah, we'll be fine. So
it. It works.
Thank,
It works.
thank God for the organized people, because we need them in our lives.
Whereabouts? You don't have to tell me exactly, but when it comes to Nashville, what part of town do you live in?
I live, when we first moved there, we lived real close to the city, 10 minutes away. And as the years have progressed, we keep moving further and further away.
Further out, yeah.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, we live about an hour south in this little town, and we have some acres, and we just hang out there. It's we love it out there. I don't mind the hour drive into town when I need to come in, but yeah, we're just out in the sticks, a little place called Lewisburg, Tennessee.
Love it.
Okay.
Love it.
Yeah.
More and more people we talk to they seem to be moving out a little bit further, and Deb's in Nashville a lot. I'm there occasionally, and the way the city is growing, there's a crane on every corner, and it got to be the joke. What's the state bird, or what's the city bird? It's a crane. So yeah. So it just, and what used to take you 20 minutes to get from the airport to downtown now takes you an hour and a half. So I'm exaggerating a little bit, but you know what I'm saying. It takes quite a while. So
yeah, it's nuts, but that's things change. That's the one constant. I will say that one of the things that's bothered me the most in the last few years is how they've allowed Music Row to kind of become decimated. When I first moved to town, I used to just love walking up and down the alleys of Music Row and watching, people outside in the back working on songs, or working up a lick, or writing a song, and there was music up and down those streets, and they've torn it up and made condos, and that's a little heartbreaking for me, but it is a constant change, and that's how life goes. So you roll with it, and you just do the best you can, and just like we're doing in the middle of all of this, you gotta find new ways to do things, or you can just sit in your house and say everything's terrible. But I can't do that. I'd rather just go out and find new ways to reach people.
Yeah. If you go to Nashville and you see the naked statues, Deb drives around that circle. She just keeps going around the circle and around the circle and around the circle. We're all at with those statues. She's still here. They're all naked.
Deb, next time you come to town, you got to holler at me, and we'll Jen and I will go meet you for lunch or something.
Absolutely. My son lives there now, so plus we go back and forth as a business and this and a couple of other entities that we have going on there. So we definitely are there. We were there a few weeks back. I'm really hoping to get there in August. I would love if I could be there when Backstage Nashville opens up. If it's sometime in August, that would be great. So yeah, I'll definitely be in touch with you for sure. And and if you find that you're coming to the Northeast please let us know. If I don't catch it on your schedule, because we'll figure something out.
Absolutely. Anywhere, and we'd make the trip to come out and say hello. So
anywhere
in the Northeast.
Well, now is your son doing the music thing here, or what's he doing?
Well, he's not a artist or anything. He was working for a company called Lane One, and they were doing VIP experiences for not country artists, but pop artists like Jennifer Lopez and Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, those types. Well, they actually just folded, unfortunately. They were a subsidiary of Live Nation. So because there's no concerts, at least until January, there was just not even any work for them. So he is currently looking for a job. So if you know anyone that's looking for a really good employee, he loves live events and so forth.
You can start an indie artist VIP events, and he can sell packages where people can come over, and I'll make them a bologna sandwich.
Okay.
and we'll drink some moonshine and maybe we'll go kayaking or something. We live right off the river.
I'll
sure
connect you too.
Brendan's probably watching right now in Nashville. So,
oh, he will be watching this. He's on a plane right now, actually.
okay. Oh,
But-
all right.
He'll watch the replay.
Yeah, he normally watches. He's one of our team players on one of our lead team players for Country Music Fan Club. He does a phenomenal job with us. So I have
You guys are doing some really cool things there. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have a lot of fun doing it.
You know, before we say goodbye, Scott, I know we've been on almost an hour. Wow, time flies when you're having fun.
I know.
You've been just a great person to get to know and a great person to chat with, and you're obviously a lot of fun. I love your attitude. Like I say, it seriously put a smile on my face, and you know, when you smile, like to the extent I was smiling, it hurt.
I know. We're gonna be sore tomorrow.
I'm not happy.
I know. But I do have to ask, and for all of our viewers and the people that'll be watching this and listening in Syracuse or the Northeast, your music is available where?
You can go to my website, scottsouthworth.com. As far as the other albums, Hey Hillbilly Singer and the last Honky Tonk in Town are both available on iTunes, Amazon, Apple Music, wherever you go to find music. The new CD, These Old Bones, should be dropping on Monday. I say should because right now I don't know if technology's going to work the way it's supposed to, but I'm hoping it does. But if they want to buy physical CDs, you can go to my website and it'll point you to scottsouthworth.bandcamp.com, and you can buy music and T-shirts, and you can buy downloads, whatever you want there. I'll make you a bologna sandwich and send it to you for $10. Whatever.
I'll put my order in.
Okay.
Scott, enjoy your time in Oregon, and I guess we say it different here in the Northeast. How do you say it, Deb?
That's how we can tell where you're from.
I'm from Long Island, so it might not sound too pretty.
Yeah, she's got the Long Island. Long Island.
Sure.
Park the car in the garage.
Yeah.
I mean, I just got the Syracuse accent. So.
All right. Well, you all holler when you're in Nashville. I'd love to catch up with either of you in person, and hopefully by then we can actually shake hands and hang out.
That's great. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Backstage Nashville, for sending us Scott Southworth tonight. And Southworth. My tongue, I'm dry. I didn't have any cup of water here.
You need some moonshine.
I need some moonshine. I have some here. I have some in the fridge and some down here. 3rd and Lindsley. Check out the schedule. Hopefully catch Scott on August 1st. We're going to keep our fingers crossed that you guys can open up.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so very much, and thanks for everybody paying attention and listening, and who support indie traditional country music or any indie musicians. We need all the help we can get, so we thank you.
And that's why we're doing this. Scott, you're awesome, man. Stay healthy, my friend, and yes, we hope to meet soon. Take care.
All right. Thanks so much.
God bless you.
Bye-bye.